I am concerned. I am concerned for the state of the church. I am concerned because so many of us have lost touch of the Great Commission and are bedazzled by the leers of this present world. I am concerned because the church spends more time singing about Jesus and worshiping him rather than doing the gritty down in the trenches work of the ministry of Jesus that included saving souls, setting people free, and providing a safe haven to the lost, needy, and broken. I am concerned for the voiceless who continuously undergo oppressions by the authorities and government institutions. Yet the church fails to criticize and bring up the standard of the cross that was the center of silencing one of the world's most greatest voices. I am concerned. I am concerned that the individuals who have been sanctified and anointed as leaders of God's people has become more infatuated with preaching the gospel of material wealth and riches rather than preaching the gospel of inclusion, healing, and liberation. I am concerned. I am concerned for the women and men who go day by day being lost in the gospel because the people who represent it has turned them away, ignored them, counted them as a loss, abused them, all to their own self-gain. I am concerned. I am concerned about the people who cannot live in their existence freely in the so-called sacred spaces because it's not convenient for those who have been there for years. I am concerned. What is going on? Have we lost touch of what we've been called to do? Have we drunk the elixir of selfish passivity and became intoxicated with indifference, negligence, and self-gain? Take a walk with me as I continue to preach for your hearing today. During the time of the text I'm going to spend today, Matthew 21, 33 through 46, Jesus was making his final journey to Jerusalem. His final journey of his life that will culminate, as we know, in the crucifixion on Mount Calvary. Jesus decided to take a risk at this moment and challenge the religious leaders of the time. These are the same religious leaders who have been wondering who this man is. Remember, Jesus spent his ministry healing the sick, raising the dead, giving sight to the blind, even on the Sabbath, which was unheard of. Jesus was the center of the talk of these religious leaders of Israel. They were so interested in knowing who is this man and was concerned that their authority would be tested by the people as a result of his teachings. Jesus settled their wonder by addressing them directly in this parable, Matthew 21. He spent actually 3 parables on these religious leaders during the course of this chapter, criticizing them of their negligence in dealing with the people of God. In the text, Jesus is talking to his disciples about an issue with a vineyard. Now, a vineyard was a grand place, a grand thing in the days of Jesus. For one to have a vineyard meant that you had status, high status, in the community, because wine was highly regarded in the Hebrew people. So Jesus talks about the vineyard with all of the necessities that characterize a successful and sustainable vineyard. The vineyard is surrounded by a loose-fitted stone fence and watchtower. It has a wine press because, as we know, the vineyard's end product should be fine wine. In this vineyard were tenants, and these tenants were held to one main standard: produce fruit for submission to the landowner. The landowner sent his servants twice, and each time, he sent his servants twice to receive fruit. And each time, his servants were killed by tenants. Finally, the landowner sent his son to receive his fruit with the hope that they will respect his son. When the tenants saw the son, they conspired to kill him, because they knew if the son is dead, they would inherit the vineyard for their own. After Jesus asked his disciples, "What do you think will happen to the tenants when the owner comes?" Of course, they answered, "They will be killed and given to other tenants that can produce fruit." Folks, I believe that we are in a time where God is tired. God has left his precious kingdom to us, ministers and religious leaders, to cultivate and build his kingdom. We have been called to be the tenants of the precious vineyard, so that when the landowner comes, there will be a sweet, good fruit to offer. Yet, church, I contend that we are slacking. There is trouble in the vineyard, and God is tired. God is tired of millions of people around the world going to bed hungry at night due to lack of food supply. God is tired of the corners of Chicago, Atlanta, Dallas, Detroit, and Oakland being infested with drugs and violence due to gangs. God is tired of unarmed women and men of color being killed by the same people who have vowed to serve and protect them. God is tired of women being sexually abused by men and not receiving justice. God is tired of gays, lesbians being shunned in the place where God is supposed to dwell and love is supposed to abide in Jesus' name. God is tired, children, and the vineyard is in crisis. What will be our response? What will be our reaction to the cries of all of God's children? For behold, God is doing a new thing in this season. He is calling us to a place of commitment to respond to inequity, inequality, injustice, racism, sexism, ableism, and all of the things that seek to oppress any of God's children. Yeah. He is saying to us, get right, for this vineyard is not yours, it is mine. Save yourselves from my retribution, for I am coming to receive the good fruit. Please have it to offer. Please go out and do the Great Commission. Thank you.